ask me anything. Haven't done that in a while. But I'm gonna do it again. The reason I hadn't done it in a while is because I was going live way too late. Let me see. Does that look better or does this look better? I'm gonna keep it for now. So because I had been getting on pretty late, I didn't do Ask Me Anything in a few weeks. Because I didn't think it would be beneficial to go, well, to ask me anything rather late at night, just because it gets weird at night. Things can get a little weird at night. Um, but now I'm at a semi decent hour. Um, I think this could be okay. So this is Ask Me Anything Saturday night. And of course, when I say ask me anything, I always make the following proviso that it be rational and an appropriate think family friendly questions, not anything off the wall. Okay, so you know I'm so we can do ask me anything, and again, you know make them appropriate family friendly questions, but generally you can ask me anything. Let me contact my moderators, let them know I'm live. Give me a second, guys. All right, now I'm back. So anyway, I just notified my moderators that I'm live in case I need the backup. Hopefully, hopefully a smooth sailing here. But with some conversation. I mean, I was debating uh, talking about something philosophically related, but I think that can be saved for another day. If this doesn't go swimmingly, I will end it and read some comics that I still haven't read and take myself to sleep. But again, this is my Ask Me Anything format. People have a bad habit of asking random questions during my live streams, but usually they won't be willing to drop a few coins to get those questions answered. So I do a format where you can ask me those random questions. Hey Kaylee. So on these days when I do Ask Me Anything, people can ask me questions. Again, they should be family friendly questions, but otherwise, it's all good. Um, like I said, I haven't done Ask Me Anything in a few weeks just because um, I had went live pretty late, so it wasn't a good time for that format. But hopefully this will go well. If not, like I said, I got something on deck to read before I go to bed, and I'm still debating whether I'm gonna keep this light on or not. It depends on probably the angle. At this angle, yeah, it does. It's decent. From the other way, it produces some glare, so I don't want you guys getting that glare on the on your end. Also have a little bit of classical music playing in the background. I might have to turn it down so I don't get dinged for it like I did the other day when I did a broadcast talking about stepdads, and I think one part of the music score was copyrighted. So I didn't get a strike for it or anything like that, but uh, I don't think I could place ads in that segment. So I want to kind of avoid that again today. And by the way, I don't respond to Onk. So if anyone says that, I'm just gonna ignore you. See something? Yeah. So yeah, I'm not gonna respond. Drop a, I mean, you drop a super chat, and I will respond to it though. Otherwise, nah. So my niece and nephew's the only one that can call me Onk. Otherwise, well, no, actually, let me not be mean because I know in other ethnic groups, they do call their folks uncle and auntie out of respect. So I'll let that slide. Never mind. As you as I was, um, like even with my Filipino in-laws, like the young kids will say Tito out of respect, or um, or they just say Po or Kuya, depending. I actually don't know why one of my younger cousins calls me Tito instead of Kuya. Kuya is more like big brother, or or sort of like in Japan when they say senpai. So, but it doesn't matter to me. But yeah, let me turn down this classical just so I don't get dinged for any copyright. I don't know how someone can claim a copyright on something that was written hundreds of years ago, and they just recomposed it. But whatever. Better not take the risk. Ironically, this music is a live chat itself. But yeah. Um, but yeah, guys, if you don't come in, don't just say hi. You can say, ask a question or whatever. It always comes off a little weird when people just say hi and that's it. Cause I had two little uh stalkers that used to come into my channel. They would just create different personas to flood the channel, and they would just say hi just to try to annoy me, and then they would take clips of my likeness and digitally edit it. So come in and you can ask me questions. Some people who've been here before sort of know my my leanings and background on things. So, but if not, I mean, you could take a cursory look at at some of the stuff on my channel, and that might give you an idea of what you might want to ask me. Sort of, like nerdy stuff generally. Anything nerdy related, like whether you're dealing with like talking about science, history, philosophy, comic books, um, superheroes, sci-fi, Star Wars, traveling, um, martial arts, fitness, that sort of thing, or nutrition. All these sorts of things I geek out about. But I'll give it a few moments. I think one of my mods is here. I'm not sure. And if anyone gets a chance, give me a like and a subscribe too. Thanks. This someone gave it to me, so I've been using it for like close to 2 years now. I had a better one, but the other one broke at the gym. Like, um, I think I was just getting off the treadmill, yeah, and went to go wipe it down, and then I set my previous water jug on the trash on the trash can while I grabbed some rags and sprayed them down so I could wipe off the treadmill, and it fell off the trash can, completely bust with all this water everywhere. I felt that was embarrassing. And one of the workers came over, and I was like, "Hey, you want me to clean that up? I'm sorry about that." He said, "No, it's okay." I was like, "My bad." So, at least it was only water though, so it's not like they would have to be cleaning up like a bunch of pre-workout formula or Gatorade or something. But it was a much better bottle. It didn't have the little stupid spout like this one does. And it was bigger than this. Pause. But yeah, but yeah, like I said, so I nerd out about a lot of stuff. If people want to ask me questions on any given topic, thing I really don't know, the two things I really don't know much about, so those questions probably won't go very far. I mean, you can ask them, but those questions won't go very far. It's either asking me anything dealing with video games or sports. Now, if you're asking me something about combat sports, like, boxing, kickboxing, MMA, Muay Thai, stuff like that, yeah, we're good to go. But if you're asking me anything about professional sports leagues like NBA, NFL, the major leagues, in the NHL, something like that, I don't know. I wouldn't know. And video games, like I said, the last video game console I had was the Nintendo, the classic Nintendo, and I stopped playing that back in like 1992. And I still don't know what I did with it because now I wish I had it. This channel is has just come on 3 years now. This is my third year doing this. The channel would have been bigger earlier, but I just treated it sort of just as a hobby, which I kind of still do, but I do put time into it, some effort into it. Now, once it grows, if and when this grows past 10,000 subs, then I'll treat this like a full time job. But until then, it's sort of like just a hobby to me. But yeah, if I could turn this into like if I'd be more than willing to turn this into something full time. Uh, Once I go past like 10,000 subs, where you can actually like make money off of it. But the chump change I make now is basically like good enough to buy me like fruit snacks and some running sneakers. Like that's about it. Maybe some Mrs. Contrarian, some pesos. But yeah, but the channel's been only up 3 years. Um, and so I am looking into doing some other stuff. I had someone I had in mind for to be my editor to make this more professional looking, but she's on some sort of religious journey right now, which I can't join her on. Um, so I guess she doesn't want me to be. She's not willing to work with me unless I have some sort of religious epiphany, and that's not going to happen. Like we function on two different wavelengths of what we consider evidence. For me, it has to be empirical evidence. For her, it's hearing thoughts in her head, which is like which is like a clear sign that someone is going insane. So, in any case, my favorite food, General Soul chicken. But it's sort of like a toss up between General Soul chicken and buffalo wings. Neither one are healthy, but I really don't care. It's not like I eat either one of them every day. Although, well, well, back in my senior year of high school, I was eating buffalo wings like once a week. Like I even had a former girlfriend asking, she made fun of me. She's like, your bitch ass wouldn't couldn't live without your little buffalo wings every week. I was like, so I can't help it if my stepmother kept making them for me. Shoot, what I'm gonna say no. But yeah, toss up between General Soul chicken and buffalo wings. Very unhealthy, but again, not something I eat every day. So, although I probably would have, well, no, I probably wouldn't eat it every day, but I would probably definitely eat it every week if I could. I came pretty close to that in college, eating one of the two every week. Favorite drink, iced coffee, which you guys can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com. My link will be in the description. I drink coffee every day. Um, I actually haven't had enough today. That's why I've been kind of tired. Um, but yeah, um, iced coffee. It used to be bottled water, but bottled water doesn't do anything for me. Dr. Pepper. Eh, that's Dr. Pepper's okay, I guess. I just don't like soda because if you don't drink soda in a long time, it is strong as I don't know what. Like if you go like it doesn't even have to be like years. Like if you go say like 4 6 months without soda, it's very strong. Particularly Coke. Coke is strong as hell. Pepsi not so much. Dr Pepper not so much. But any of the cola drinks are generally pretty strong if you haven't drank soda in a while. And I drink soda once in a blue moon nowadays. But I'm generally drinking water and coffee every day. Sometimes I'll drink tea, rarely, but mostly coffee, water, sometimes a milkshake. And that's usually only when I go out, I'll have like a milkshake or a smoothie or coffee. A iced coffee smoothie is even better. Speaking of the General So chicken and buffalo wings, I once snuck them into the movies with me. I still don't know how I got all that, and like that must have been a my jacket must have been pretty large for me to sneak, but like, and I'm pretty sure that the movie attendant knew. He just didn't care. Like, I had them both on each side of my coat and snuck them into the movies with me, and I'm pretty sure people probably smelled it too. They was like, "Who the hell got like a whole freaking carry out in this theater?" So coffee gives you energy, which I needed. It doesn't really give you energy so much as it borrows energy. It makes you alert, and which is why I like it. It makes you alert and more able to focus. Um, but it doesn't so much give you energy as so much as it delays. it doesn't give you energy so much as it delays you from feeling tired. I'll say that's sort of what it does. It sort of like steals energy from the future and gives it to you in the present because because it doesn't really give you energy. It just delays your feelings of being tired because once it wears off, you're still going to be just as tired as you were before and probably worse off, which is why you got to keep drinking more, which is fine during the day, but eventually it will catch up with you. So you need to still get rest at some point. Um, and again, like guys, take advantage of the Ask Me Anything format because, like I said, I only do this on these days that I have Ask Me Anything days. Because any other day when I have a focused topic, I really won't answer those sort of random questions unless it comes in the form of a super chat. On Ask Me Anything days, you get all these questions answered for free. So do take advantage of it. I was gonna say something, but nah, never mind. But yeah, yeah. So guys, I'm an avid coffee drinker, so please, if you like, if you see a link in the description, either if you're watching this broadcast on replay, or if you just go into my channel and you go under the description, you'll see stuff, and you can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com. I do actually drink it all the time, and every time I have had people actually donate to my Buy Me a Coffee account, I drink coffee live on my streams to show my appreciation. RC Bucks is just want to know what's your favorite car. Mine is a Porsche. I don't have a favorite car. Um, I guess you mean your dream car. I guess. I mean, I don't have a. I really don't have a favorite one. Well, the Batmobile, I guess, but I won't be driving that. Well, actually, no. You can rent it. They there are places that will allow you to rent those celebrity vehicles. I mean those like I've seen people drive in the Batmobile in Baltimore. Um, I don't think I've seen the Ecto one. I think I've seen a DeLorean though. I've seen a Batmobile. I think I saw a DeLorean. Haven't seen the Ecto one. Haven't seen Knight Rider or any of that. Or and I haven't seen the General Lee. But yeah, I don't have a favorite car. I mean, I do like sports cars, but I don't have a favorite one. I mean, I know if I had maybe a lot of money, I would consider a Lamborghini. Although I don't know because I'm not sure if the attention it would bring would be worth it. But if you have the money, I guess why not? But yeah, maybe a Lamborghini, a black Lamborghini. I think that's what Bruce Wayne had in the Dark Knight. I think he had a black. I can't remember if it was a Ferrari or a Lamborghini he had. I think it was a Lamborghini. So anything associated with Batman, basically, Batmobile, the the Bat Lamborghini, and whatever that bike is, he had a. I think it was a Ducati. Might have been a Ducati that he had in the movie. Favorite movie? Star Wars. What, I mean, you're asking like the way that you asking favorite stuff. Are you like are you in the Intel community? Because sound like you're trying to. I, I feel like after I answer all your questions, I'm gonna get emails with a bunch of like credit card things or something. But yeah, Star Wars and Batman 1989. Actually, all my favorite movies I have on DVD now. Ghostbusters, the original, Karate Kid, the original, um, Batman 1989, Star Wars, the original trilogy, the Dark Knight trilogy, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the original movie from 1990. And I don't have too many movies from the 90s. Like Turtles is the only one. Sorry, just want to know. Okay, I was just asking because it sounded like something like I would ask, and all of a sudden I would start getting like credit card applications or like those those little random spam letters people get. Whatever movies I have up there. Oh, Indiana Jones, the original trilogy. The Star Wars. I mean, sorry, the Star Trek trilogy, the original Star Trek trilogies. Episode movies 2, 3, and 4. They formed a trilogy on its own. The Wrath of Khan, The Search for Spock, and The Voyage Home. What else I got? Oh, The Avengers. Got that. The Wolverine, of course, and Captain America: Winter Soldier. Uh, that's the only MCU stuff I got up there. Still want. There's still a few other movies I need to get. I wanted to get the Bruce Lee connection. I mean, sorry, the Bruce Lee collection. Um, Bloodsport, Kickboxer, and Casino Royale, which is just a dope. I think the best James Bond movie, Casino Royale. That and Skyfall. Skyfall was really good too. Casino Royale, Skyfall, and A License to a Kill with Timothy Dalton. I like Timothy Dalton's portrayal of Bond because he made him a dark character the way that uh, Craig, um, Daniel Craig did. I don't like the hokey version that what's that that what's his name portrayed. Um, what's his name? Forgot. But yeah, of course Sean Connery is the classic, but the two guys that came after him were whack. Timothy Dalton was okay, and License to a Kill, and um, I think it was called The Living Daylights, something. Pierce Bronson was okay, but he was still kind of cheesy. Although Goldeneye was pretty good, but Pierce Bronson got kind of cheesy very quickly. What? Okay, whatever movies do I have up there? Actually, let me go check. Um, oh yeah, Gremlins. I got to have that. Transformers the movie, the original one. Yeah, I almost forgot about Gremlins. Considering also getting I should probably also get the first what was that Bruce Willis movie? guys, the Bruce. Well, there's only one person here, but yeah. Dang, what is that the Bruce Willis movie? Ah, dang, why can't I remember that movie? Since there's been so many sequels to it. That, it'll come back to me. Uh, I really can't remember that Bruce Willis movie. Jeez, I can't. That's horrible. It'll come back to me. But yeah, pretty much have all my favorite movies on DVD. Like I said, except for still need to get Bloodsport, Kickboxer, Casino Royale, and the Bruce Lee movies. His actual like movies, not the not all those Bruce exploitation films that came out after his death, like Game of Death 2 and the guy whose name was like Dragon Lee, another one who was like Bruce Lee with an Li, and all those other little ripoffs. All that. Although the Bruce exploitation films are actually kind of enjoyable if you don't take them seriously. I was gonna say Lethal Weapon. No, that's not. I like Lethal Weapon, but that's not one of my favorite. That's not my. That's not the Bruce Willis film. Shoot, can't remember. What's the movie, guys, with the Naka? Like someone will tell me in the comments, like after I post this. Like, what's the movie where Bruce Willis is the cop that goes to see his wife in L.A. working at the Nakatomi Plaza that got taken over by the terrorists, and then you find out they're not really terrorists; they're just trying to steal money out of the place. Um, Dang, I can't believe I forgot the name of that movie. That shows I'm tired that I can't remember the name of one of my favorite films. I kept wanting to say Hard to Kill, but that's not the right film. That's Steven Seagal. Well, really, his real name is Steven Seagal. He just started telling people it's Seagal, but it's Seagal. Let me not offend him before he start doing some Aikido through the through the internet, because of course it works. Not. Um. Anyway, unless there's no other questions, I'm probably gonna get off soon. Uh, but I would like people to give me a like and a subscribe, and actually check out my other content. I still have other. I still have a lot of content that I still haven't put on here yet, just out of lack of time, and it still needs. Some of it I just haven't filmed yet, so that's why the other stuff st- is still needs to be edited. I have content from the wife, Mrs. Contrarian, and that stuff just needs to be edited. Um, uh, and I have a video that's been on the way for like 6 weeks now, but the person who's been working on it has had a lot of other things to do. So I do have an upcoming video showing like my everyday carry weapons and tools that I bring that I carry on my person when I go out. I thought that would be an interesting video since a lot of other people have done videos like that, and I've already done a video on my bug out bag. My wife did a sort of a version of her hiking bag, which isn't a bug out bag, but I told her we can just add a few tactical items to her backpack and it'll make it into a bug out bag. So I've done that. So I have a video coming still showing my EDC or everyday carry tools. I still need to film a video of me showing you guys like me doing Jeet Kune Do shadow boxing. Um, I'm supposed to hopefully can still interview my friend in India, talking about her being an acid attack survivor. Hopefully, I can still get that. And again, the wife has some content on her recent travels throughout the whole Indochina region that hopefully she'll put together for me. She actually still has some other travel video content too. I don't know if I will if we'll get that around. Um, there was a video that I was going to also put out with me sparring these guys who do Kyokushin karate, and I think the video file was too large. That's why I wasn't able to post all of it. But it wasn't the best video anyway because I didn't know anyone was actually filming at the time, and unfortunately, because I was in a person's dojo I've never been to before, and I didn't know the person, and he seemed to have a very um I don't know, he had a sketchy disposition. I felt uncomfortable actually showing my my skill level, so I kind of just was, taking it very lightly, whereas they were taking it very seriously. So it didn't make for great. I'm not sure if even if I had it in a compressible form that I could put on here, it would be entertaining unless I kind of like did a lot of editing and trimming to it to make it more palatable for viewing. Actually, yeah, if I could get that certain person to work on that video, that person probably could make it a very interesting video to watch. I didn't even think of that actually. Maybe I might still try to do it. We'll see. Um, but yeah, I will be needing some sort of editor pretty soon so I can put out better video content and like long form videos for you guys. Um, what else do I have coming up? Maybe some more travel stuff of me actually traveling. By the way, not just the wifey, but the both of us. Um, but yes, that's pretty much it. And maybe doing some more of my rants in the car. Sarah says, "Hey brother, what's the topic?" It's ask me anything format, Sarah, where people can just, ask me random questions. Family friendly, as long as they're family friendly, that people can ask me any question. Um, I haven't done this in several weeks just because I've been going live pretty late. So since I started at an earlier time, I thought I could do that tonight since it's Saturday. Um, but yeah, I forgot what I was saying. I was mentioning I was looking to get an editor so I can put out some more long form video content. And I'm still contemplating what I'm going to do with the second channel. The second channel is called Mrs. Contrarian. If you guys want to sign up to it, still undecided whether we're going to use that just for her to put her stuff on there, or I'll use it as a martial arts uh, channel. Still undecided on that, but I do have a second channel just called Mrs. Contrarian. Um, but yeah, but like, so, for you guys coming in, this this is Ask Me Anything Saturday night, where you can ask me any sort of question as long as it's family friendly. For YouTube, everything must be family friendly. So, and like I said, not I have a comic book to attend to, and maybe a late night snack. So you look tired today. You doing okay? Family okay? Yeah. Have we spoken before? I'm tired because it's late. I get up early, so that's why I'm trying to go back to my earlier times where I would usually go live. But I wouldn't discuss my family issues on here anyway with people. I'm not. I don't. Some of these content creators that put all their business out here as if they're getting therapy neat. I don't do that. That's weird. But yeah, so yes, it's been a while online only. Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, even if I was having issues at home, I wouldn't put that on here. And when I do put stuff on here, I always make it very oblique. Um, so my retired U.S. Marines, we spoke about it. Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, it's just late. I'm kind of in chill mode. Also, probably because I ran 9 miles earlier, so kind of tired from that as well. I definitely should have drank. Why? Wait, why didn't I? Yeah, I definitely should have drank coffee after I did my 9 mile run earlier. I was too tired to go out and do my little shadow kickboxing, and a friend wanted to hang out and make a video earlier, but I didn't really feel like it. Especially if the video had to do with like just complaining about women. I get tired of talking about that sort of stuff. Like if it entertains folks, I don't mind doing it. But if it's not entertaining to you guys, I'm not going to keep doing it. And that's I don't think sometimes he understands that I want to put on content that's not entertaining to people. That just to have someone sit there and kvetch is not necessarily entertaining unless I put a lot of editing and cutaway scenes into it to kind of lighten it up. So gotcha, no worries. Good thoughts, you and your family's way. Thank you, appreciate it. Hope you're doing well as well. Yeah, I'm just chilling. I'm messing with a little fidget spinner. I wanted one of these a long time ago when they first came out, so I got my little Batman fidget spinner and the classic Batman comic, his first appearance, the Detective Comics number 27, his first appearance, and I got it in the shiny cover version. This came out or last year for the anniversary for Batman Day in May. Was it May? I forgot what is Bat. No, no, I'm sorry. Batman Day is like in like usually around September, October. He said, "I'm back. My phone died." No worries. So I remember. Yeah, you said you were a retired Marine. When did you retire? If you don't mind telling me, was that recently or was that a long time ago you retired? If I had to do it over again, I definitely would have done Army career 2007. Okay, so not too long after I got out. I got out in 2005. I actually got out in 2004, but I didn't actually like ETS until like 2005, September 2005, something like that. But yeah, so that was I was official out in '05, but I came out in 2004. You know how that is. But yeah, if I had to, definitely would have kept it going career wise, which would have helped pay for school and all that good stuff. But I came out on a medical discharge, so but but back at that time, some sergeant was trying to, they, you know, he was willing to kind of get rid of that paperwork to keep me in, especially because they wanted me to go with them when they were deploying anyway. So when we were deploying and I had to, and they wanted to medically deem me medically unfit, he was willing to just like, we can throw this away and, come along with us. Oh, no, 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 it's all good. The worst thing about coming out was the fact I didn't get paid for it. That was the worst thing. So like I didn't mind when I came back. I finished my last semester. I finished. Well, I finished my last semester of college for my double degree and started my third major as well as going and did like started grad school, but it just sucked I didn't get paid for it. Someone took all my combat. So when I was in, I went I went initial ready reserve, and from initial ready reserve or IRR, I went over to a different um, army unit for Walter Reed, the medical, but I hadn't yet became MOS qualified for my new medical, um, for my new, because I was in reserves at the time, so not wasn't active duty. So I didn't. I was telling. So they had reserved my MOS school for the summer, so I was waiting for that. But since I wasn't yet MOS qualified, my previous unit brought me back when they got deployed, and I found out that while I was gone, someone had basically taken my combat gear and signed out for it under my name. I have a huge suspicion it was the supply sergeant. I can't prove it, but they were saying I was responsible for the gear, but they weren't going to take it all out of my check at once. But once they deemed me medically unfit and I came back stateside, they just took it all out of my check. So all that money was gone. Then I just, I was going to RST, reschedule service time. I RST for an entire week at a nearby reserve station in Baltimore and didn't get paid for any of it, which also sucked. And then the Walter Reed unit had was mobilized for deployment as well. So they never sent over my paperwork to the medical review board so that I could stay in. So the medical review board just medically discharged me because they never got the necessary paperwork they needed to just say, oh, he can still stay in the army. So that was the messed up stuff there. So yeah, I didn't finish college till after ETS, but I got my master's. That's what's up. I still haven't finished mine. RC Buck says, bro, I'm under what? Fifth grade. Um, you might be a little too young for this channel. I would hope that you're here under parental permission. Like, I don't want minors on my channel without their parents' approval. So, anywho, Sarah says, "Wow, it's crazy how different the branches are. I would have said kick rocks if that happened to me. Sorry, bro. Eh, it happens. I mean, that's why one of the guys is like, man, you should go try to get get disability. And I'm like, I'm not disabled. He's like, yeah, but they screwed you. He's like, there's people you can talk who work with the VA that can get people disability even if they don't really have like disability. So with the medical thing, like that might be one way to do it. Then another guy in the Navy was telling me how easily it is to get disability by claiming you have hearing impairment, and I was like, that's very sketchy. But when the people, people I talk with, learned how badly it was when I left. How like I basically left, you know, at a financial deficit. Like I didn't get paid. Like I all my money was taken from my TA-50 gear. I don't know what they call the combat gear in the Marines, but Army they call it TA-50, and so all the money was taken for that, and I didn't even have that gear. Like anytime we took that stuff out, I took it right back to the armory. Like I never, some people kept their gear instead of signing it back into the armory. I just sent all that stuff back to the armory. Like I had no place to put that while I was in college. So it just went back to the armory. So clearly someone took my stuff and signed my name out for it and never returned it, for which I was then financially responsible for it. And then, like I said, because because of the fuckery of that Walter Reed unit, and this is why I'm this is why I prefer more combat MOSs, because I think combat support are like very just I think that people in Army combat support, not non-combat MOSs, are pretty low speed. Yeah, put it that way. I was gonna say something else. I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna say they're pretty low speed, because there's no way that the Walter Reed unit should have not one been able to sign off on my RSTs so I could get paid for it, and also not give that paperwork to the medical review board so I could have stayed stateside and continued being active. So, whatever. So yeah, very pro VA disability. I had my knee blown off. Ooh, second deployment. And it took me 4 years to apply. We earned it, brother. Yeah. You know how it is. Some of us don't want to claim disability just because it's. But I mean, I'm going to look into it now. It's been a long time, but why not? Like I said, I really, I definitely got screwed financially. Like I said, the 5 RST drills, that alone would have been a lot of money, especially being that I couldn't control the fact that someone took my TA-50 gear. Like I can't control for that, but I could at least got my RST money. So what are RST? Sorry, Marine Corps terms. Again, no. So RST is reserve scheduled time. This is for reservists. So I don't think they do this active duty. I think that's only for reserve and for reservists and National Guard. So, say you're 1 week in a month, you you're supposed to report to drill, but you can't go. So you reschedule your um, you rescheduled your training for a different time. Usually either on another weekend or during the weekdays, either at your permanent duty station or nearby one, and they fill out the paperwork and you send it back over to your unit so that you can get credit for that rescheduled training time, as well as pay for it. So like I said, so I did some rescheduled service training, or RST, at the supply and logistics reserve station in Baltimore County, and I'm guessing they sent it over to the Walter Reed unit in DC. I'm not sure if they never sent it over, or just more than likely the Walter Reed unit never processed it because they were getting mobilized, which is the same reason, because they were getting mobilized, they never sent over my paperwork to the medical review board so that they could make the decision to keep me um, active. So, yeah. So as his first deployment, I was attached as a staff sergeant to a reserve unit. It was so night and day. Yeah, a lot of these reserve units aren't squared away. Now the Marines is different. Like the first place I was in, outside of Fort Detrick. we shared our reserve station with Marines. They were a lightly armored vehicle unit. They were squared away. Like I think they spent most of their time training or PMCS in their vehicles. They were squared away. We were the knuckleheads. Like um, and it's like the year before we got deployed, they got deployed a year before. They came back a year later, and I think they had only lost one person. One of their Marines uh, was unalived, but everyone in my unit, when they returned a year and a half later, none of them, all of them came back safely. There was some hijinks though that happened there, but that's a story for another day. But yeah, I will be applying for the disability. I have to check in with my friend so he can get me in contact with that specialist, not specialist like army specialist, but like this VA specialist. He works with veterans to get them their benefits. So I will definitely be contacting that person, especially because I think you can also tell me if this is true or not. I think once you apply and if you get approved, then you'll get a lot of back um not back pay because you can't call it back pay. Whatever you call it, like from all the time that you weren't currently in a system, like you get all that. I think she said it was just the little things. I have a junior Lance Cooley walk by me and I'd give me the proper greeting of the day and I'd lose it. Just different. You know why though? Because a lot of them. So I can't say for your unit, but the reason why it's so is is so informal is because they kind of take that out of you. Like I remember the first time I appeared at my permanent duty station for reserves, and so I was talking to the acting first sergeant at the time, um, and everything he said, I was like, "Yes, first sergeant. Yes, first sergeant. Yes, first sergeant." He was like, "Will you knock that shit out?" I'm like, "Oh, my bad." I was like, "Okay, my bad, Sarge." So it was very informal. So it's like people come to these. Look, trust me, people come to the reserves and National Guard squared away, but when they get there, the informal atmosphere there kind of it, it you know it takes away from that because you don't want to be the only stilted person, you know, and everyone else is like kind of you know acting, but yeah, is the let's be honest. A lot of those reserve and National Guard units were a joke. You had people that come there, do their 1 week in a month, their 2 weeks, 2 weeks of annual training for the year, and these dudes are like still smoking and joking. Like it's like, what was the point of you going in the reserves and you just smoking and joking? Like you might as well just go active duty. Like dudes literally like out there dealing drugs, and you in the and you in the U.S. Army. Like what? Like that's crazy. Like you should have just went active duty if that's all you're gonna do. What's up, Asia? Oh, you said yes, you will from the date you filed. Okay, that would be nice. That would be a nice chunk of change. Even if it's only, I don't, even if it's only 10%. Shoot, man, that's some fruit snack money, right? Even if it's only 10%, I'll take it. Even if I only got 10% disability, I'll freaking take it. But the fact that they discharged me for the PKU thing, maybe I have a case for that. And I have my AR 201 file, at least as much of it as I could get. So any and everything from my AR 201 file, I'll willingly give them that info so they can process whatever they need to do. so I can get 10, 20% disability. I don't even care. The messed up thing is I heard right now currently they're making people choose between disability and their pension. Like you can't. They're telling people you can't have both now. I'm like, how the hell? I don't know if that's true or not, but I've heard now that you can't both have like your full VA disability and your pension. Like you have to choose, which is just I don't know if that's true or not, but that would be really messed up. Yes, sir. Says I get that. I learned that, but trust me, they went home all alive and squared away. LOL. Say no more. I get it. But yeah, like I said, when I came to the unit, most of us were, you know, square jawed. You know, we were ready, standing at parade rest. um, like yes, sergeant, no sergeant, and they were like, knock their shit out. I'm like, my bad. So like usually the only time people got written up was either for not showing up to drill and not scheduling an RST, um, or mainly for not appearing to drill. That's usually the biggest reason people not getting would get written up in the reserves was like not appearing. Sometimes for like not passing their PT, but even with PT, like usually the people weren't written up for that. They would probably just get like a warning because half the sergeants were out of shape. Like most of the NCOs were out of shape. Like you knew that during the week they weren't staying in shape. At least I stayed in shape. I said yes. So my brother-in-law is in the army now, about a year, and he's in Poland. He nonstop will ask me leadership questions. So as an army soldier, he's a baby. He's only have U.S. Marine advice. Eh, I mean, some of it applies. I mean, if anything, he just keep reading his handbook, reading his handbook, knowing his orders of command. I mean, there's really not much to it than that. Um, signing up to signing up for different schools to get those qualifications. You know, airborne, air assault, pathfinder, mountaineering, stuff like that. Stuff I wish I did if I were still in. And the only reason I didn't do that stuff because again I was being lazy. Like as soon as I left AIT, I wanted to go straight back to the permanent duty station so I could go home and start school. That, but that took a year anyway. So in that year, I could have gotten a bunch of qualifications under my belt while I was, waiting to go back to school. I could have did 82nd, did 101st, did mountaineering, um, tried at least tried attempted to do Pathfinder school, um, and maybe even Ranger leadership um, qualification. Even if I didn't make it, it would still have been nice just to try that out. But I was being really really obtuse back then. So I wish I would have done all that stuff because I know I would have passed most of it. I'm not sure if I would have passed the rangership course, um, but if I did, it would have been nice to have that ranger tab. So, what are your thoughts? I was a drill instructor then. Well, did a lot in deployments. He gets upset when his NCOs get on him, makes me want to knock him. Vice, different branches. Uh, I mean, people don't realize, but the military is just like, as far as dealing with people, it's just like dealing with people in civilian jobs. Like you're gonna deal with different people. You're gonna deal with people who are difficult people, and I mean, the military kind of attracts people who have a sort of an authoritarian sort of mindset. So a lot of them get off on telling others what to do. I mean, if you weren't prepared for that, you probably shouldn't have joined the military, honestly, right? But other than that, if he wants to be, I mean, if he wants to be squared away, I mean, it depends. Look, it depends on on your on your your chain of command. But generally, if you're doing what you want, if you're doing what you're supposed to do, then you shouldn't be having problems too much. Do what you're supposed to do, and that's pretty much it. Stay in shape, do what you're told, know your orders of command, and you know always read from your handbook when you got that downtime, so you can stay up to date on all your regulations. I don't know what much else advice to give him other than he should probably be asking to go to different qualifications courses to get those tabs to become more. He'll be treated better. Well, yeah, that would be my advice. He should be asking to go to all these different qualification courses because the more those the more those qualifications he gets under his belt, the more valuable he will be seen by his chain of command. You know, you get you get your you get your 82nd airborne, your 101st airborne, you know, get your mountaineering, get your maybe going to something like navigational school or seer school or pathfinder school. um, I forgot what the school is, this sort of geared towards people in combat engineering, but any of those things, the more those things he does to be the more those qualifications he gets under his belt, the more valuable he'll be seen by his unit and the more respect he'll get. That's what I would say. Like, those are things I wished I did. But again, like I said, once I had went to reserves, it was everything was pretty laid back. So, but I would say generally, if he wants a easier time in the service, um, stay squared away with knowing his regulations by knowing the handbook back and forth. Making sure he's always passing his Army Combat Fitness Test, the ACFT. Um, Doing what he's told by his command. That should be pretty self-explanatory. And and signing up for all those qualification courses. When someone says, "Do you want to go to jump school?" Yes, you want to go to jump school. Oh, you want to do air assault? Like, jump school is what, 2 weeks. Um, Air assault is 7 weeks. They call it the seven hardest weeks. I mean, 7 days. I'm sorry. It's a week long. They say it's the hardest 7 days in the army. Go to air assault. Do that. Do that. Get those tabs. Then they ask you want to do any other courses. Say yes. The more those qualifications he gets under his belt, the more valuable he'll be seen by his chain of command, and the more respect he'll be given. But if you just want to do the bare minimum, that's how they're gonna see you. That's just like at a regular job. If you come into your job and you do the bare minimum, that's how they're gonna see you. They're gonna see, like, they're not gonna value you that much compared to the person who's going out of his way to impress impress his supervisors. Like I said, it's the same thing on the civilian side as it is on the military side. it takes the same people skills. I'm guessing he's probably a younger person, millennial or Gen Z, and a lot of them don't have strong social skills. I'm just going to say it. But yeah, if he wants to get into into if he wants to get into their good graces, sign up for them qualifications. Sarah says I found myself being soft on him with advice. Yeah, she said I don't want to do him a disservice. Okay, good. That's what I tell him. She said I did. She said I did Sears, one of the hardest things I've ever done. I heard Sears pretty hard. I don't even know if non-combat can do Sear because there are some qualification courses you can do whether you're combat or not. Sear, I'm not sure. Well, most of the other ones I mentioned, you don't have to be combat. You can do anyone can go to jump school. Anyone can do air assault. Anyone can do level one mountaineering, um, Pathfinder school. Although I think you have to get approved of for that because it's actually a very tough school. But you don't have to be combat to do those things. Even the ranger leadership course, like that's open to anyone in the army as well. So no, he basically wants to be like me. So I said, go for the hardest things you can. In the Marines, we have to qualify, so I have a hard time giving advice. Hope that makes sense. I really appreciate you. No problem. Like I said, tell him, just and sometimes you're just going to deal with difficult people. That's unavoidable, especially in the military. You're going to deal with in the military. You have people, military and law enforcement, and attracts people who tend to be more authoritarian. So some of them get off on telling others what to do. You can't avoid that, other than just not going into the military or law enforcement, because those are the sort of people who gravitate to those sorts of careers, right? But other than dealing with an unavoidable, you know, other than not being able to avoid like maybe a asshole sergeant, like staff sergeant or first sarge or whatever, or, or major sergeant, sergeant major, whatever. Even those sergeant, I've never seen like a sergeant major really get down on a lower enlisted, unless they did something really dumb. But, but yeah, usually, like I said, you'll probably get more respect once he gets like some qualification courses under his belt, and like I said, making sure he maintains a, a good um P a good I was about to say PFT. We don't have PFT anymore. A good ACFT score, that, and just knowing his regulations. That's all. Uh, doesn't I mean, I've been out for this will be now 20 years I've been out, so my advice could be outdated. But I think generally, if you do what you're told, if you pass your PT, you're good to go. And outside of that, making yourself more valuable to the army by doing these qualifications. That's, I guess, what I would say. Sarah says in Marines, only certain MOSs can. When they open Sears to women, I was a staff sergeant, so I had more pull to beg and pull strings to go. I was in a combat unit, so after 3 years I got in. So I actually don't know, as far as the army who can go on Sarah. I don't think it's open to everyone either, though. In the just like it's not open to everyone in the Marines, I don't think it's open to everyone in the army either. I think you either have to be in a combat related MOS, or or you have to get approved by a higher by someone up higher in the chain of command. because I don't think that's generally a school open to non. Because a lot of people, because stuff like SEER and the navigational course, I forgot what it's called. A lot of that stuff is usually geared specifically to people either in infantry in or special ops generally. So I'm not sure if SEER would be for a non like I don't I don't see someone whose MOS is I forgot the MOS nomenclature, but they're a cook. I don't think someone who's an army cook is able to apply it to seer unless cook is their second MOS and not their primary MOS. But I could be wrong. I'm not sure. But I know I've heard seer crazy. What's up, Moonlit? Says, yeah, I agree, but I've been out since 2007, so I feel you. Moonlit says exactly. Moonlit, you might know. So was seer open to anyone in the army, or did you have to be only in a combat MOS to qualify for seer? Because how some, like I said, some qualification courses were open to anyone. Like anyone do mountaineering, at least the level one mountaineering. Um, Anyone can go to Pathfinder school if they qualify to go. That is, you have to be qualified, but anyone can go, whether combat or non-combat. Um, but a lot of the other qualification courses, I think, were only geared towards people in combat related positions. Like I think Seer was one of them. The navigational course, I forgot what it's called. The diving school, um, the advanced mountaineering stuff. Um, I was going to say RASP. RASP, anyone can actually do RASP because the 75th Ranger Regiment will take people who outside of infantry if they have a use for your MOS. It depends on what your MOS, but anyone um, you can apply to RASP if they'll take your MOS, but they don't take every MOS. But they don't only take combat MOSs, but there are some MOSs they won't take for RASP for RASP one or RASP two. Now the rangership course, anyone can do that, but not anyone can do RASP. Sarah says, "Yeah, I'm curious too. Marines, you had to qualify." Mona says, "I was artillery. I didn't ask, but was supposed to be sent to Japan, but that was 2002, and I was discharged. But it's still infantry." Well, artillery is yeah, artillery. That's a combat MOS. So you would have been qualified to go to any of those schools. I'm talking about non uh, non combat related MOS. And you didn't go to Japan, man. I would have been going to Japan. I'd have had, man. You already know what I'm going to say. If I went to Japan, we don't. What is understood needs not to be said. But yeah, Sarah says now diving school. Anyone in the Marines can do that straight out of boot camp. Yeah, you can. So I don't know in the Army. Maybe anyone can do diving school. I guess, but I think there's two different diving schools though. So that might be why. There might be one open to anyone, and then there might be a diving school only for special ops. Oh, and then there's this Arctic there's like an Arctic course as well or whatever, like some Arctic survival qualification course as well. I wouldn't want to do that. I don't want to do anything remotely related to being in the Arctic. I'm pretty sure that training all happens in either like Alaska or Greenland, soon to be one of the 52nd state after Canada becomes the 51st, but whatever. So yeah, I don't. Maybe Marines can because you guys. I mean, it would make sense that diving school would be open to any Marine because I mean, literally the Marines. You guys, your 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 sphere of combat is maritime. It's being that you are a maritime force, it kind of makes sense that any Marine would be open to diving school. It's just like for us, any of us are open to going to doing airborne because that's how Army travels, on foot and on the air. Like so, says that yeah, we all have to do swim qualification. Then if you're good enough, you can get handpicked or just do it in the fleet. Most of the 52nd state. QS5. Oh, Ray, what's going on? He said simplify. Okay, so we got two Marines in here. But yeah, um, yeah. Since only problem since Moonlit, since you were artillery, I don't have anyone to ask who's either like non-combat or a higher enlisted or commissioner who could tell us what qualification courses non-combat folks can do, because I don't know what her nephew what he does, but like I said, there's some courses that's open to everyone, and then there's some courses that's only open to people in combat related MOS, and then there's stuff that you don't have to be combat, but but it it depends on your MOS. Like I said, so RASP is Ranger Assessment and Selection Program, and you have RAS one for lower enlisted and RAS two for higher enlisted. You don't have to be combat. You don't have to be infantry to you don't have to be um, you don't have to be infantry to qualify to go to RASP, but they're not. But they only take certain MOSs, non certain non-combat MOSs that they have a need for in the regiment, in the 75th Regiment. And of course, if you do make it through, then you have I think your MOS is reassigned. I should That would have been another thing to do, read it, because I think if you could survive Rangership leadership course, you could probably survive RASP. Someone could tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm thinking the Ranger leadership course is harder than RASP, at least from some people I've heard. I don't know. Melissa says depends though. National Guard has more opportunities these days. I mean, yeah. I'm talking. I'm but I'm talking about across active duty, National Guard, reserves. Um, Generally, any three components of the Army can do these things, especially reserves. Reserves, like pretty much anything active duty can do, reservists can do. National Guard, it depends. The funny thing is, there's the funny thing is National Guard also has some things that the reserves doesn't. Believe it or not, like that's a, there's a National Guards that you have Army Special Forces and National Guard, but not in the reserves. So, which is interesting. That would be interesting being because it's funny because people would probably tease folks like, "Oh, you're a National Guard. You're just a weekend warrior," not knowing this person is a whole fucking Green Beret. They're like, "All right, yeah, call me a weekend warrior if you want." Man is a whole freaking Green Beret. Shoot. But you don't have as far as I know, you don't there's no special forces in the reserves, but they do in National Guard. So that's why I say I don't that's why I don't talk trash about people who are in the guards, the reserves, or might have positions like being an army cook or something like that. Because sometimes those people who are like cooks, that's like their secondary MOS. Their primary MOS was probably something combat related, and they was like, I'm gonna go do something easy and just kind of coast for the rest of for the rest of my years until I get my retirement. Like they thinking these guys are a joke because they're cooks, not knowing this person is a full fledged paratrooper and now he wants to finish out his last 5 or 10 years as a cook doing something that's like kind of chill. So plus you want to be friendly with the cooks because they can be your best friend in the field. When they deliver that hot chow to the field, ain't nothing like it. It's like it's like being a kid and and your mom takes you to McDonald's. That's what it's like when the cooks come bring you hot chow to the field. It says, yeah, I had a few recruits who were recruited out of boot camp. Now they had to graduate, but after their MCT and MOS training were complete, they go straight there to the school. He said, okay, good. I told him go Ranger. Wait. When you tell him to go Ranger, are you telling him to sign up for RASP, or are you telling him to go to Ranger leadership course? So it's a difference. So I don't, Marine being a Marine, I'm not sure if you know the difference. So the Ranger leadership course is open to anyone in the Army, but it's very hard and most people fail. But it's literally open to anyone. You can be a cook. You can be logistics. Okay. Uh, you could be privates private clean the latrines type dude who's always getting into fights at the wood line, like whatever. Like they'll take anyone for Ranger leadership course. It doesn't matter what your MOS is because it's just to get the Ranger leadership tab, right? Then you're the shit. You get to wear the little. Do they still wear the red berets? I'm not even sure, but if you came out of the Ranger uh, leadership course, you were the shit. Like once you came back to your unit with the Ranger leadership tab, you were the shit. You can't call yourself a Ranger though, but you are Ranger qualified. That's the difference. Now, if you go to RASP, once you once you go to RASP, you are a Ranger, like because you'll be assigned to the Ranger battalion, the 75th Ranger Regiment. So if you're assigned to one of those Ranger battalions, you are a Ranger, whether you are infantry or not. Like whether even if you don't fight, if you are assigned to the Ranger Regiment, you are a Ranger. So they go through RASP. Like if you're low enlisted, if you're E4 and below, you go to RASP one. If you're is it no, I think it's is it E5 and it's either E4 or E5 and below all do RASP one. If you're E5 and above, you go to RASP two. Um, and again, you don't have to be infantry to sign up for Ranger to sign up for RASP, but they don't take every MOS. So if they have a need for it in the regiment, then they'll take it. So I'm pretty sure they would have taken my MOS at the time, my primary MOS, which was uh, telephone and wiring systems and maintenance, because we are very useful. They call us cable dogs because we're basically we're 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 basically the communications for the army, except that they started contracting a lot to like civilian folks for our jobs. So they shrink the position and then combined it with something else when I left. Hope uh, it was good I left because I would have had to probably had to go through more training to learn the other side of it that they combined it with. But whatever. Anyway, I'm pretty sure Ras probably would have taken me. Plus, not only do we do the communications, like there is a signal intelligence component of it as well. So I had a top security clearance. So pretty sure Ras would have taken me if I was hua enough to sign up for it. But again, RASP and ranger leadership are two different things. So I don't know if you're telling him to become a ranger or you just telling him to go get his ranger qualification, because those are two different things. Melissa, yes, ranger is amazing. Just most youngins don't attempt. I mean, plus it would be nice as a ranger to once they start singing those cadences, now it's about you. When they singing about airborne rangers, now you get they're talking about you. You're part of that legacy, so that would be kind of cool, right? One says no National Guard are first to be boots on the ground. They already get an overseas badge before deployment. Yeah, you get your overseas badge when after you deploy. I don't think you get it before you deploy. I think you get it after you deploy, right? But yeah, you get your overseas badge. And of course, like if you're National Guard or reservist, and you're out there like back then, like in the Middle East or wherever, and you come under actual you come at that come excuse me you come under actual fire, you're gonna get your CAB, your um what's it called, combat assault badge, which is different from CIB or EIB. Your CIB or your EIB it's only if you're if you're in infantry, but if you are non-infantry, you get a CAB instead of CIB badge. So that you get a lot of so you get a shit there. You got your overseas badge, you got your cab badge, you know. Is it weekend warrior, blah ha ha. Memories of my first deployment on nasty reserve Marines. I gotta say, I kind of miss female. You know where I'm going with this, Moonlit. I kind of miss the female soldiers. Man, I'm just saying. And female Marines were kind of hot because they were in better shape. So, so this is a Moonlit telling. She said that's what I don't know. But yeah, that would be interesting. I wonder if diving school was open to everyone in the army. Probably, it probably was. I don't know, because a lot of things people just didn't know about, or they just weren't interested in doing because it had not, it had no core, like it had no like connection to what they actually did on the day to day. So for like me, being a basically being a glorified cable technician, most of those excuse me, most of those qualifications were had no real connection to what I did, but it would have been nice to have those because made it made me more valuable. It, it would have definitely upped my pay. So, like I said, if I had to do that, I would have signed up for any course they had available. Even and maybe I wouldn't pass all of them, but you know, and at least with RASP, like because you don't because RASP is different than this the I forgot the name of the special forces course. Uh I forgot the name of it, but so the difference is like when you go if you sign for special forces, like that's your actual MOS. So that sucks. So if you don't qualify, you have to you have to basically come back and have the army reassign you, or they might put you out. That kind of sucks. Whereas with RASP, if you don't make it through, you just go back to whatever your primary MOS was. Someone says I'd rather be a weekend warrior than chair force, but I still love the Air Force. No disrespect, but we can all laugh at Space Force. No, Space Force is actually pretty. What they do, you'd be surprised some of the stuff they do right now. Like the stuff they are doing is very high speed. A lot of the stuff Space Force is doing is very high speed when it's come as far as dealing with um, cyber warfare, um, cybersecurity, um, working with people. They they work along um, some people in places like NSA and national, what they call them, national geospatial, whatever that intelligence agency is. And yeah, they do a lot of high speed stuff, so I can't even knock them. Plus they have the same physical fitness requirements as the Air Force does. So so they at least they're in shape, unlike the Navy. I'm sorry, the Navy, they're the seamen are both, they're allowed to be fat and they're allowed to be borderline retarded. And I'm not even joking with the borderline retarded. Like they take, it used to be the Marines that took the lowest ASVAB score. The Navy now takes the lowest ASVAB score. Like the score they take is like, what is it, like a, it's something low. I don't know, like 17 or 18 or something low like that. If you correlate that to an IQ test, that is like borderline retardation or mild retardation levels. Like that's below, that would be below a 90 on the IQ test. So they will take a a very low ASVAB score as long as that person finished high school, which means you could be which means you could be sped. I think that's the term they use for it now, right? Sped. You can come out of high school sped as long as you qualify and go right into the Navy. I literally know someone like that in the Navy currently. So, so it's crazy how we're one service, but the terms are so different. Yeah, and it makes it confusing too. You just say, okay, so tell him to go RASP. Uh, Not unless he's prepared to become a ranger. Like I said, if he goes RASP, he's going to be reassigned to a ranger battalion. If that's not what he wants to do, I wouldn't say do that. I would say just tell him to sign up for the qualification courses, like going to go to jump school, which is 82nd Airborne. Then after that, right at the same place at Fort Bragg, he can do 101st um, Air Assault, which is also airborne, but it's confusing. They call them both airborne, but 82nd Airborne is parachuting school, jump school. 101st Airborne is Air Assault. So he could do those two, and then then if he likes that, then he can probably maybe do something else like rangership qualification course, which is not RASP, um, or mountaineering, which is I heard is pretty easy. Um, there's the Arctic survival course. Um, Pathfinder. Pathfinder is very hard though. A lot of people fail out of Pathfinder school. It's not hard physically. It's hard. It's hard mentally. It's more. It's more of a mental game than a physical thing. There's still some physical stuff you have to do for Pathfinder school, but it's more. It's harder for people because you have to you have to actually study and do homework and test and all that sort of stuff. But if you can get a Pathfinder badge, it'll make you very valuable. Um, but yeah, I wouldn't tell him go RASP unless he wants to be because if he does RASP, he'll be reassigned to a Ranger battalion. I'm not sure if that's something he wants to do, unless he just wants to get away from his current command. If that's the case, he could just sign up for to do a secondary MOS. He's tanks again. It's night and day to me. Oh, oh, so he's assigned to a. Oh, okay, that's combat. So I don't know. He might want to do RASP. I'm pretty sure they would take him if he's assigned to a. I forgot what they call uh the tanks. But yeah, that's why he doesn't like it. I heard that shit sucks. It looks cool, but I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to be. I wouldn't want to do that. Tanks. Mm-mm. Why did he choose? of anything, why did he choose tanks? I mean, unless he was just like he was just into tanks and like, yeah, I want to do tanks, but I ain't no way in hell. I wouldn't want to do tanks. I wouldn't want to do combat engineering. It's just some stuff I'd be like, oh hell no, I'm not doing that shit. Combat engineering and tanks is two things I wouldn't. I'd rather be infantry than tanks. Uh, Melissa's Rangers get amazing pay even after discharge. They have tons of merc jobs available without the stigma of this or that. They can private contract as a civilian. True. He said, Melissa says, left my home to join the army, left my home to join the army cadence. He said, you got lucky I had no females in my regiment. Imagine being a cannon, which is what we call tanks. My superiors would smoke me if I said tank. Yeah, that's what I said. That's why I was like, I don't know what they call it, but I know we don't call it tanks. Cannons to the left of me, cannons to the right of me. I'm saying that's an old Fresh Prince of Bel Air joke, by the way. She's I'm learning so much. Thank you. Oh no, no problem. He said, yeah, brother, preach. He said they let in. He said they let in now. He said others like to roast us because we do the trekking in full gear and BDUs in the rain on 3 hours of sleep and no food, but we leave no man behind. He said, can he request us to go to their to these schools in the army again? Night and day we go, depend on MOS and qualification in rare cases. Yeah, the so the stuff I'm saying any is open to anyone in the army. Anyone in the army can go to jump to go to can request to go to 82nd Airborne. Anyone in the army can request to go to 101st Airborne. Anyone can request to go to Pathfinder School. But the difference is with Pathfinder School, you have to qualify. It's open to any MOS, but you have to qualify for it though. So you send it. You have to apply, and they determine whether you're fit for Pathfinder School. But anyone in the army can apply for Pathfinder School, but it's only for people who qualify. Mountaineering, I think anyone can do it. Level one mountaineering, anyone can do it. Um, what else? Uh, I think anyone can sign up for the language school. Um, there's this language school that you go to depending on your MOS. So originally I was thinking of becoming an interrogator. To become an interrogator, you have to learn a foreign language, and you gotta go to this language school where they teach you where they you have to pass this test where to get into the language school where they give you a, a fictional language and you have to be able to understand it and transliterate it for a test. And if you pass it, you're part of the language school. That's open to anyone, but it's specifically you have to do it if you want to become something like an interrogator. I turned it down just because the recruiter said basically you're going to be. he said he said they call it interrogation. He said, man, he said I'm not going to lie to you. He said they're going to have you torturing people. So I'm like, all right, never mind. Also, like if you're special forces, you have to go to language school because everyone in special forces. When I'm talking about special forces, I mean Green Berets specifically, not other areas of special forces in the army, but Green Berets are specifically called special forces. So they have to pass that language school because everyone in the Green Berets learns a foreign language. And even if you already know a foreign language, you can't use that. They're going to teach you something else so you become more valuable. So um, if you're already a native like Spanish speaker, Chinese speaker, French speaker, whatever, you're going to learn something completely new. So, um, yeah. So, like I said, I would tell him if he hasn't already done this, go to jump school, go to air assault, and if he wants, he can try the rangership leadership course, which is not the same as RASP. RASP, if he does RASP, he's going to be reassigned to a ranger battalion within the 75th Ranger Regiment, which means he's now special ops. I don't know if he wants that lifestyle or not. Um, Melissa says my Navy friend said they can't wear dog tags in deep ocean because many get bit by barracudas. That's crazy. He says I still don't know if he's full of it. Sarah says yeah, he wants to be high speed, low drag, like high speed, low drag. If he wants to be reassigned to be a ranger, then yeah, he could go to he could apply to RASP. Like I said, because he's already in mobile. I can't remember. What do you remember? What they called it, Moonlit? What they called people in assigned to tanks? It's not. It's not mobile assault. I can't remember what it's called, but whatever it's called, he can. I'm sure Rasp will take that. Pause. But yeah, but if he's not trying to, I mean, if he just wants the ranger qualification, he can just sign up for the ranger school instead of RASP. Go to ranger school, he's gonna get the ranger tab, and you get a lot of respect for having a ranger tab because even rangers, after RSP or whatever, many of them will end up going to the ranger leadership school once they become higher, um, become a higher pay grade. Like once if you're like E6, E7 or whatever, they probably gonna be like, all right, you need to go to the ranger leadership course. Plus, unlike many of the others, like the Rangers have to continually keep qualifying to stay in the same 75th Ranger Regiment. You are not guaranteed to stay there. Like you have to continually prove that you're still uh, qualified to be there. So they're very high speed, and uh, this is why the Rangers are so poor. Like you have Rangers who they'll call Rangers and to come save Navy SEALs, and I'm not even lying. Like you hear very little cases of Rangers like needing to be saved. They usually bring them in to save other people. Just saying, just saying. So, and I think because of the high expectations within the Ranger Regiment is kind of like unique amongst the Army Special Forces uh, units. Like I said, they have to continually prove that they still qualify to be there. So, like I said, that's why I said it is a very demanding lifestyle. I would probably just want rather just get my leadership tab and call it a day. Melissa says, Sarah, I don't know, but keep him away from artillery. It is brutal. But he's already doing tanking. Isn't that just as bad as artillery? Sarah says he went combat engineering. Ugh. But the unit got dissolved. Never heard of that, but we saw it at his graduation. So he got assigned to tank. Sorry, that's what the Marines calls it. Yeah, I've never heard of a combat engineering unit being dissolved unless they're just shrinking it. I don't know. So this is Moon. I was attached to artillery my first deployment and loved it, but I was Marines, of course. Moon says engineering is high pay. If you want him safe, get him into comms. It's not really high pay because you're getting paid the same for your pay grade regardless. It's only like I said, if you have different qualifications, you're going to get paid more. But it literally doesn't matter what your MOS is. You're getting paid regardless. If you E4 Mafia, you get paid the same regardless. Like it doesn't matter whether you're infantry, you're a cook, your logistics, you, your intelligence, um, or you know, you're in a health, you know, you're in a medical unit, like you're a combat medic, like E4 is E4. Like that's you're not getting paid more because you're in combat engineering. That's not true. Like unless like you get paid more because you have certain qualifications. So that's you don't get paid more for combat engineering, but you will get paid more as a combat engineer if you go to their school. And I forgot what that school is called, but there's a qualification course for people specifically who go into combat engineering or related stuff, and it teaches them like some sort of navigational course or whatever. I forgot what it's called, but yeah, you'll be paid more for that. But you're not getting paid more just because you're a combat engineer. You got if a combat engineer is getting paid more, it's because they went through that certain they went to that navigational qualification course that many combat engineers do. Melissa says, I'm Army, but I hear you loved it. Just my eyes and ears took damage, and that's not fun, but I salute you. So this is what blows my mind to be in interrogation is so different in the core. I don't know, but like I said, so the one I saw when I was at MEPS, it was Russian interrogator, and I was like, oh, that's cool, and I almost signed up for it, and the recruiter was like, man, you got to pass this language course. He says really hard. He's saying if you don't, he said you gotta. Now someone told me this was a lie because she's done it, but the recruiter said you gotta have like you gotta pass with like 90, you gotta pass with at least a 90% score to pass the test, and if not, you'll have to be reassigned another MOS, and you're gonna be basically you can only take whatever's gonna be available when they reassign you. He's like, plus, he said, I'm not gonna lie. He said they're gonna make you torture people. I'm like, oh yeah, never mind. So I chose not to do that. Sarah says, hell yes, they should. This is talking about Rangers. Melissa's Rangers going for everyone. Only branch that does. We make sure they get back to their loved ones no matter what. Now, I don't know. It might not be so bad to be reassigned as a ranger if you're still doing your MOS, because like I said, they will take. You don't have to necessarily do infantry as a ranger. Like if you are probably if you're doing something that they need in communications or signal intelligence, they probably will take something like that because they would need people that can do stuff like that, like anything like probably like combat medics, um, different areas in communications. They probably would take that, and you could probably still use that, do that same MOS. That wouldn't be bad. Unless no one wants to be in a tank, trust me. Yeah, I wouldn't think so. He said, "Wow." He said you was gonna sign up for interrogation. I don't think I could have under government laws. That's brutal. I didn't know what it was, honestly. Like I'm 19 years old. I didn't know what that was. I just saw interrogation, so I thought you had to question people. I didn't know that that meant like what we know now, like waterboarding people and all that other sorts of stuff. But I don't know. Maybe I would have met some hot Russian woman. Natasha, look here, Natasha. You don't have to tell us what they doing over there with the petrols. I don't know. Right to tell me something. Stop. Cement bamboo shards under toenails and 3 teaspoons of honey. I don't know if they like. Again, I don't know to the degree of what is allowed, but there are specific interrogation techniques that are allowed. This that are technically torture, but I'm not sure if you're doing stuff like that, pushing bamboo shards under people's fingernails and stuff like that. I don't know because you're still army and not uh you're not. I mean, because you're still part of the conventional force, you're not special ops. You're not working for the intel community. I'm pretty sure you still have to work within the regulations of you know of the what you the the forgot the regulations, but yeah. So this is on the Marine Corps. We have a primary MOS and get higher qualifications for the MOS, but we are technically the MOS. If we want another field, we have to make a lateral move for a new MOS. So wait, you can't get a secondary MOS in the Marines? Like you literally have to leave the Marines to get another MOS? No wonder so many of them leave. I thought they were doing it just because of the way the promotion the way enlisted promotion works, that it makes sense to leave the Marines and go somewhere else to rank up, like because the way you guys rank up is differently. Like people rank up the quickest, I believe, in the army, but you'll have someone in the Marines that may be being there for like 6 years at an E4. But let's see, what time is it? It's getting late. Uh, But yeah, um, then what I can't think. What are the regulations for like lawful ways to treat combatants and non-combatants? What is that called? The codes of Geneva. Like yeah, even as an interrogator, you still have to you're still you still are operating under the codes of Geneva. So a lot of that they're not doing all that insane torturing. That stuff does happen, but that's happening on like black sites and stuff like that. That's not going to be like pretty sure PV2 Contrarian is not going to be sitting there shoving bamboo shards up people's fingernails. Like that wouldn't be allowed, and I would be going straight to the brig if I even you know now some so-called hard interrogation techniques are allowed by under the UCMJ, but um, some of that other stuff wasn't allowed. That's why a lot of those guys got in trouble back in was it Iraq, or I think it was in Iraq or Afghanistan, wherever they were holding those people, and they came to light what they were doing. Once they found out, they got in trouble. I mean, you could say they just got in trouble because the army was embarrassed about about people finding out. And that was probably part of it, but also like the stuff they were doing was not like they that was not within their scope of things they're allowed to do to people. That's why they got into so much trouble. Like they were wilding out. So either way, I wouldn't have wanted to be an interrogator once I realized what it what it you know what it involved. Sarah says, "Yeah, it's so different. I don't know that. Thank you all for so much. I can advise him properly." Sarah says, "Exactly. We can get a lateral move if approved by headquarters, but not otherwise." Oh, Yeah, like I said, it depends on how cool he wants to be. Like basically, since he didn't sign up to be in a tank, he signed up to be a combat engineer, which sucks too. Like you going that basically means you're basically an infant. Combat engineer is just a fancy way of saying someone who's infantry who has to build bridges. That's what a combat engineer is. Someone who's basically infantry but also has to build bridges. Like that sucks. But being in a tank would be worse, I assume. And I forget what that MOS is called, but it's not. They don't actually call it tanks in the army. Like, um, but yeah, if he's looking to he can apply for a secondary MOS if he just wants to leave. That's one thing. So, say he wants to be like, all right, well, I'd like to try my hand at being a combat medic or something. He can try that, but outside of that, like I said, he should be going to these qualification schools. And if he really wants to do the soft lifestyle, soft, I mean SOF. Um, if he really think he can handle a soft lifestyle, you can always sign up for RASP or even the Q course. The Q course is for special forces. Um, from what I've heard, even the the Green Beret guys like they don't have to go through constant reassessment like the Rangers do. Like that's rough. So just because you get in there, don't doesn't guarantee you're gonna stay. But at least with Green Berets, I think they'll work with you, like to keep you in. If you know if you are legitimately trying to keep stay afloat. Amon says them codes are for Gazy. We can do anything in international waters. Not really. Not really. What you can get away with and what it, you got to make the distinction between what people are getting away with and what they're allowed to do. Just because you're getting away with doing something doesn't mean you're allowed to do it. Again, that's why I pointed back to what happened um, almost 20 years ago when they caught what those people were doing with the captives that they were interrogating, and they found out that they were doing all sorts of weird, creepy stuff to those folks that they held captive. And once it came to light, they got into a lot of trouble because just because they were getting away with it doesn't mean that's something they're allowed to do. Codes to Geneva are there for like if it's like any sort of it's like any sort of job, any other type of job. Like just because you can get away with something doesn't mean you're allowed to do it. But as long as no one finds out, sure, you can get away with doing something if no one finds out. But once people find out about it, then that's your ass. Like I personally am not going to do anything that I'm not allowed to do just because other people are doing it. Sarah says it does. I've seen it firsthand. She said Iraq Abu Ghraib. Yep, that's it. Thank you. She said you said it right. You said it right, contrarian. Oh, you're welcome. She said thank you. Q course. That's for special forces. Green Beret. With them, it's different from RASP. So, say you going into the army, uh, the qualification course for becoming a special forces Green Beret is an MOS itself. That it has its own MOS classification. Unlike like going RASP, like I said, anyone can sign up for RASP. That's not an MOS. Now once you get now one, if you then pass the course and get assigned to a Ranger battalion, then they change your MOS. But with special, but with Green Beret Special Forces, like that is its own MOS. So just signing up for the Q course, the qualification course, is an MOS. Like I forgot the what they call it. but people will see it on your DD214. They be like, oh shit, he signed up for. Okay. Melissa says a fast answer, a nightmare, Sarah. Sarah said first deployment I ran the Al Assad prison. We had the Abu Ghraib. Well, some about half transferred to our prison. Never seen grown men so terrified. The prisoners, I mean, they had reason to be terrified. He said, okay, so as it is, ask me anything. What are your favorite cadences? Bleep the bad words. So that's actually funny because, like I said, someone asked that on I think on the Army's Instagram page. I think they asked people what their favorite cadences was, and I was like, I don't have a favorite one. It depends. It literally depends on who's calling cadence, because the cadence is only as good as the person calling it. Like you can take like if the person got rhythm, it makes everything sound good. You get one of them black drill sergeants, and they sound like freaking sound like Sly and the fam. What's the guy named Sly Stone and the whatever. You get what I'm saying? Like if you get someone with some rhythm out there, then any cadence will sound good. So you get some of them white guys, they be having rhythm. You know they got like a black wife at home seasoning in the chicken and the greens. You know you could tell some of the white drill sergeants. You know they like either they got a black woman at home or somebody gave them the seasoned chicken and greens because they be calling cadence. You like hold up, uh, Sergeant. Try to make up some name. Try to make up some Sergeant Blitzkrieg. Like, but yeah, it. I don't have a favorite cadence. It depends on who's calling. It depends on who's calling cadence. Sarah says now Abu Ghraib was first Saddam's son prison. Oh, Melissa says tell Sarah how crazy we have so many songs. They got just as many, and theirs are worse than ours. This is for fight, and this is for fun. This is when I first went in for the transfer. I was given a tour. The top floor had bullet holes about 4 feet tall. Damn. Wait, which was the place they? No, it wasn't a prison. I'm sorry. Remember they took one of Saddam Hussein's palaces and they turned it into a headquarters. And a lot of the art officers stole his treasure. Do you guys remember that when they took one of Saddam Hussein's palaces or mansions, whatever it was, and it was a whole bunch of money and stuff in there. So the officers actually took that shit. There's reason his sons would line up prisoners before we got there. Oh, yikes! Emma says what? He said they had held Saddam up like a deer hunt. Well, his own people did the deed. So just like with Colonel Gaddafi, his people did the deed. We just handed them over to them, and they took care of it. No blood on our hands, allegedly. But hey, who propped up Saddam originally? That's a whole different subject for another day. So most haunted place I ever seen. You talking about the Abu Ghraib prison? Someone said we leave our hand-me-downs for others to use. Yeah, this is like playing Risk. It is what I was telling people, like playing Risk. I didn't play it a lot, but I remember every time we played it, when I used to be in college, every time I was playing it with my friends, every time we got involved in the Middle East, everything just went sideways. And I think that was by design of the game. But for whatever reason, we could conquer all these different parts of the globe. But as soon as you started messing with the Middle East, everything got messed up when you were playing Risk. And I was like, damn, if this isn't like accurate. And I think Stratego is like Risk as well. I don't know if like Stratego was like a knock me off Risk or vice versa. But I think like either like the Middle East or like those little former Soviet states. Because remember, I don't know if you remember Seinfeld when Kramer and what's his name were playing Risk, and they were in one of the Baltic states, and they were on the subway playing. He was like, "Your country is weak. I'll take it over." And there was someone on the subway. You not say my country is weak. But yeah, Risk was fun. But like I said, by the time you got to the Middle East, because usually all of us was like trying to conquer all the other different parts of the globe, and then we all ended up gravitating to the Middle East because that's like the last part, like the whole Middle East or Central Asia areas, and that's where everything got dicey. But yeah, I'm glad I didn't become an interrogator. However, I think looking back at it, since I had to end up getting a top security clearance, I would have been better off just doing intelligence because you had to get a top security clearance to do Army intelligence anyway. I'd have been better off doing that than climbing poles. Pause. I had to actually climb telephone poles. And what was worse is some of the places I couldn't. They didn't have the prongs. You had to actually gaff like the old school telephone um, folks, where you had to actually use the little gaffing um, tools to climb up these poles and risk falling off one. Says is not to go dark, but the hanging chambers were the worst. They would hang them with barbed wire, have the next one clean up the bodies before they were hung. Sorry, never talk about it. It is a bit morbid. Um, he said, again, sorry, packed away in a box. That's what we do too. Yeah, I really did not like my MOS. It was just so, it wasn't. It was useful because like when you came out, you could get a job in doing cable or in the telephone companies, which I did. Like before I before I went before I before I transferred to my alma mater. I got a job working for Comcast Cable. It was still under Montgomery Cable, the local cable company in Montgomery County, but they were bought out by Comcast. So I was like, okay, so this MOS turned out to be useful. The funny thing was, since they were hiring, they were they were massively hiring people because since they got taken over by Comcast, they needed more technicians. I probably would have got the job even if I didn't have the MOS. Like I was literally the only one. I was literally the only one at the cable company that was in the army that already had training doing this sort of stuff. So, no, you don't have to apologize for anything. I mean, we know those sort of morbid things happen, right? So there's no need to apologize. Um, that's what happens during wartime. I'm not gonna make someone apologize for um, performing their duty during wartime. That she said I became a cop. LOL. Yeah, a lot of so that's what happened to a lot of people in National Guard and reserves too. Like once they were deployed, they often were used in a capacity sort of like a cop, even though they weren't even MPs. Like a lot of people had to sort of like keep the peace because see that, and that's one of the big differences between Army infantry and Marine infantry. Marine infantry is an invading force. Army is an occupying force. So often when we come in and hold down the fort, so to speak, a lot of people there will kind of have to put on their little uh, police hat and do some of those sort of functions. Someone says you're a cop, citizen on patrol, war never changes. Uh, Sarah says, thanks, Moon. Haven't spoken about that in over, well, years now. Thanks, y'all. No problem. I'm about to wrap it up, guys. It's getting late here. It's past midnight. But, you were an MP, okay. But a field MP, basically a grunt with a badge. Does that make you less liked or more liked by everyone? Because you know how people feel about MPs, right? So, um, but you had the cool MPs, and and then you had the other type. Oh, he's a less an MP, more of a grunt. Oh, okay, gotcha. Funny thing is, most of the people I knew who were MPs did not want to become cops on the civilian side. Like after they left the military, they did something completely different. For the most, at least the few that I've spoken to, like uh, you know, I used to work in a call center where I dealt with um, getting people to refinance their veteran, their VA loans, their VA home loans. And so I talk with a lot of different people from all over the military spectrum. Every time I talk to someone who was an MP and I asked them, like, so are you a cop now? Almost all of them said no. But yeah, so like I said, with the and I wish mm, yeah, I wish I kept that clearance because that would have got me a good job. Because when I was working on my third major, believe it or not, which is in linguistics, my friend was like, "Hey man," because he just came out of the Air Force. He was like, "Hey man, you're similar to me." He said because of our linguistics background. He said, "They hiring right now. They looking for I think he was like linguistic analyst or something like that." And I think that's exactly what he did. So he's now working for the Department of State as we speak, and he's like a few years from retirement. I should have listened to him because I still my security clearance still would have been active at that. Well, they changed it now. Like now, I'm not sure if it would have been back then or not. But I know by today's standards, it wouldn't be like nowadays. Like as long as you don't receive any sort of legal infraction and you're still you're still in a job where you can it's where it can be used, they never it doesn't expire. But I think back in the day it would expire after it would have to be recertified every 6 years. Yeah, I think that was the difference. Like back in the day, the clearance was only active for 6 years, and afterwards you have to redo it, or recertify it, or whatever. So it's different now, where you don't have to go through all that. All as long as you're continuously using it and you don't receive any sort of legal infraction, it stays active, which makes sense. And it's probably less. Probably they also did it because it's probably less work for them. They don't have to have people come out and all of the people doing the background checks and stuff like that. Like that costs a lot of money. Because one of my friends used to do that for the, um, I think NSA. Was it NSA? It was one of them. I don't know. But he was a contractor. Uh, Sarah's is basically just security for convos, rescue missions, no cop car, nothing like that. She said, "Yeah, I got a lot of brothers and sisters in national security. Got recruited by Blackwater. Y'all remember them? Yeah, we do. They changed their name because they got so much flack. So I had babies, so it was a hard no. LOL. But yeah, because she was the hot Marine woman. That's how you end up with the babies. Like that's one thing I can say. Unlike the Army and the Navy, I've never seen a fat female Marine. I've never seen it. I've seen fat female soldiers and and fat um fat female seamen. Never seen a fat female Marine. Never seen it. I could be wrong, but I've never seen it. She said, "Hi." One says not Blackwater no more. Yeah, nah, I know they changed the name. But there were some hot female soldiers too. Like I said, there was one I've talked about on here before. She became a video vixen. Um, I don't want to put her name out there, but you know she was in a bunch of hip hop music videos. She was in that that TV show. What was that? What was that? It went. It was a TV show that was originally on UPN, and then it went to BET. It was about football players. The game or in the game or something like that. She played like the girlfriend who slept with everyone on the football team. She was, and then she was in a movie ATL with Ti. Um, but I want to I don't want to put her name out there, but um, she was hot. I remember the first time, like the first day in AIT, because they were waiting for they had I think they had arrived there 2 weeks before we did, so they needed more of us before they could start before they could start the school. And so I think they were just pulling guard duty for those 2 weeks until they could start the school. And I remember I came like as soon as we got there, Joe was like they was like soldiers go to Chow. So we walked over to Chow, and I saw her walking by. I was like, damn. She was Blasian. She was Korean and black, and I was like, yo. I had no idea she was going to be in my MOS. So she she was hot, but she was annoying. That's why we never like got together. So yes, it's changed. I was recruited when that was the name. She's a, of course they had her play that. No, well, here's the thing. The funny, like, since I knew her personally, I was like, she's not really acting. I mean, she wasn't at least she wasn't a 304, but she had 304 like tendencies. I'll say that much. So this the everything she was doing on those TV shows and the movie and the videos, she was basically just an exaggerated version of how she actually acts. It was just an exaggerated version of how she really was in real life. But she was hot. She was hot. Then I remember in basic training, since I went to Fort Relaxin Jackson, I don't know the new name for it. I don't care about the new names that Biden gave them. I'm still going by the original names: Bragg, Jackson, Polk, Lee, all of those. I don't care about those new names. Of course, at least Trump did bring Fort Bragg back to his original name, which I think got renamed Fort Liberty or something stupid like that. But anyway, when I was at Fort Jackson, or we called it Relaxing Jackson, we had a co-ed boot camp, so it was a lot of cute ones. I remember we were doing the PT test. Me and one of my homeboys. He was much older than I was 20 at the time. He was 27, and I remember we were running our 2 mile PT run, and we were coming across girls, and we saw this one girl, and her butt was just jiggling, and so we just kept lapping and catching back up to her so we could see her butt. And the drill sergeant even asked, he's like, "How did you two soldiers come in at the same running time?" We was like, "We were highly motivated, drill sergeant." um, then there was this white girl that was in our um, that liked me, that was reassigned to our platoon, and she was sitting there going back and forth with this black chick. They were both telling each other how they could have me if they want me. I was like, wait, what? I didn't even say anything. I was just sitting there listening, because she was like, well, I'm just saying, if I want him, I can take him anytime I want. And then the black girl was like, well, actually, I was talking to him first, so really, I can have him if I want. They were just going back and forth. It was, you know, it was funny. Um, and then the day we graduated, we're still in the barracks, and there's no one in the Bay Area. And the white chick was like, well, there's no one upstairs in the barracks right now. I thought about it, but I was like, nah, I'm not trying to get in trouble. I was like, I'm not trying to catch an article on graduation day. But she was trying to tell us to go up to the bear, because the first thing they're gonna be like, "Where's your battle buddy?" So, mm-mm. and and you be thinking in the there's no one in the Bay Area when you go to the latrines. But if you go to, but I've seen people go to the latrines by themselves, and they didn't have a battle buddy. And as soon as they did, the drill sergeant came out. I was like, hey, soldier, where's your battle buddy? And they get smoked for it. So imagine you going to the latrine, and not only not with your battle buddy, but you are getting busy in the latrines with another soldier, female or whatever. But still, nah, it wasn't worth it. But it was wild. It says I went to physical security school at Fort Leonard Wood in 2001. I remember seeing the Army recruits and a female drill sergeant. We would laugh so hard. She said I went on a run with them and ran them in the dirt. Yeah, because you guys got to run 3 miles. We only had to run two. I said this as I heard comments after the run. Comments changed. Oh, what you talking about? It was comments about you running, or vice versa? What's up, Kat? Sarah says yes. See if one of my female Marines said that. Ooh, I would have got. Yeah, like we didn't tell the drill sergeant. They didn't know what happened. They just saw that we both came in at the same running time. I think I was running for 2 miles. I think we both came in at like around 13 minutes and 17 seconds, something like that, which is not that fast, but it was decent, right? Um, because to get a perfect 100 on the PT run, you had to get like, I think, at 11 minutes 56 seconds, and they 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 had changed it because a lot of people weren't able to max the run, so they changed it to like 13 minutes. But I remember we both came in around 13 minutes 17 seconds, because we both saw this girl's big jiggling booty, and we was like, yo, we just looked at each other like, yo. And then so we ran by her, and and like sprinted all the way back up just to keep passing her by, and a few other girls too, but definitely hers. And it was just like so. So it was like later that day with drills. I was like, so how did y'all two come in exactly the same time? It was like, we were highly motivated, drill sergeant. Sarah says 3 miles. She said no, that was only boot camp. Once you're in the fleet, nothing less than 5. No, no, I mean for your PT test. For your PT test, you just had to do 3 miles, right? No, we had to run more than 5 miles, like for our daily PT. Like on our PT, we might do like 4 or 5 miles for our run for that PT for our PT for that morning. I'm talking about for the PT test, it was only 2 miles, and I think for the Marines, your PT test is 3 miles. Because I haven't heard anyone, I've never heard Marines say their PT test was 5 miles. So this is the male comments. LOL. She said, "Oh, I'll just be silent. Great moment." Say no more. She said, "I bet you were highly motivated." Yeah, but here's the good thing. Like after I would finish my runs, usually because a lot of girls, that was the hardest part of the PT test was the runs. Because they got it easier with the push-ups and the sit-ups. They tended to do better than the guys with the sit-ups. But the PT run was what killed all the girls. So after I would finish my run, I would go back and I would go back and run with them to keep them going. Like, come on, don't give up, because a lot of them would stop running and start walking. Like, I'd be like, don't, no, I'd be like, no, 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 don't stop. I was like, here, I was like, I'm gonna run with you. Let's keep going. So I used to do that all the time. I'm sure the drill sergeants noticed that, but um, you know, no, and I mean notice in a good way. Like, oh, he's looking out for his soldiers, because that's a good thing. I wasn't even thinking about it looking good to the drill sergeants. I literally didn't care. It was just like a lot of girls I was friends with, so I was like, nah, come on, let's go. So Himala said, "You talking Marines, kiddo?" He said, "In the army, we was in full BDUs and starving with little to no sleep." Mm. So it says put tests in U.S. Marines are anywhere from 2.8 to 3.2. Oh, the run test. Yeah, I mean, generally, I think your you know your your test, I mean your PT runs are the 3 miles. Ours is 2 miles. Well, now the Army Combat Fitness Test, there's actually two runs you have to do. You have to do this. You have to do the sprint, drag, and carry, and then you have to do a 2 mile run after that, which is crazy. That you have to do the sprint, drag, and carry. Then you have to do a 2 mile run after that, and that's on top of all the other stuff you have to do. You got to do the deadlifts. You got to do the 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 shot put or whatever you call it. No, not the shot put. Like you gotta throw it. I forgot when you throw it behind you as far as you can. Then you gotta do the deadlift. And you gotta do the hand release push ups. And then for the stomach, they made it really easy. You just gotta do a planks for as long as you can. Um, and another test I missed in, but Sarah's is good on you as a UMC drill instructor. Oh no, she's out. I hear screaming if you. Oh, we're screaming if you walk. Oh yeah, yeah. I guess the drill sergeant was like, hey, it's up to them if they don't put in the effort. But no, when I would see someone like looking like they about to quit or start walking or whatever, I mean, I concentrate on finishing my run first. So after I finish my run, usually between 13 and 14 minutes, then I would go back after I caught my breath for a second, and I'm seeing the girls because they were usually the last ones still on the track, and I'd be like, nah, come on, let's keep going, and I would run with them. So yeah, I was had changed too from what I hear. One of the buddies is the sergeant major of Hawaii. He said a lot has changed too. Yeah, because the army usually sets the standard. So with the army combat fitness test, I'm pretty sure that other branches, like the Air Force, made changes to their test. The Navy made theirs ridiculously easy, so I'm not going. I'm not even going to talk about them. Everyone has higher PT standards than the Navy. Like they're the only. Matter of fact, the Navy, and I shit you not. I'm not even trying to be funny. The Navy is the only place I saw where I actually saw a documentary where people were getting more out of shape during in boot camp. I was like, how the hell you get out of shape in boot camp. That's crazy. I mean, because like that's the most physical fitness they're gonna have to do is in boot camp. Because once they're stationed somewhere, especially if they're on a ship, they rarely do much PT. This is why you find people in the Navy who are actually fat. So they have relaxed PT standards. It says there's no bikes. LOL. Right. Yeah, no bikes here. Cass says you can't what? Um Not be fit in boot camp. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding, Kat. You can go to this guy. He has a YouTube channel. He's a former Marine. I think he's a former Marine drill instructor too. I can't remember his name. And he shows different stuff from all over the military. And he doesn't have any bias because I thought he was gonna be biased. Like he was genuinely disappointed. Like he wasn't like because a lot of Marines shit on Navy. He wasn't even trying. He wasn't even making fun of them. He was genuinely shocked and just like, wow. He's like, oh my god, like these people are coming in and actually getting out of shape. And some of the Navy drill instructors were out of shape. So it makes sense. The drill instructors were out of shape themselves. Like at least in Space Force, you have like they are fit because they pretty much have the same PT standards as the Air Force does. Sarah says, "I know you're tired, brother. Said, but thank you staying up a little later. I needed this. Oh, no problem, no problem at all. But yeah, I'm not even joking about that. Like the Navy needs to step it up when it comes to PT. Like when the Air Force is more fit than you, I'm I'm saying, and the Coast Guard is definitely fit. A lot of people think the Coast Guard is. Coast Guard is definitely fit. I think a lot of people make fun of the Coast Guard just because they don't know what they do, but Coast Guard, Coast Guard is pretty cool. A lot of that maritime combat that goes on with fighting pirates and stuff like that. People think that's the Navy. That's the Coast Guard, and they're sometimes assigned to protect the merchant marines, which they're not part of the military, but I think merchant marines are under the DoD. And if you become you if you be you can become a commissioned officer as a merchant marine. you know like say if like coming out of the naval academy. uh Cass says recruit training was brutal. This was back in 1990, but yours is different because you're in a different country though, Kat. So I don't know if what you guys what the Air Force in your country translates to here in America. It's probably a bit different. Sarah says I was in the boot camp with this girl and she had a 16-minute 3 mile. She came out having a 20-minute 3 mile. Crazy, right? Yeah. I mean, did she get pregnant? Wait, stop. It's like, I remember her crying because of her time because it's in boot camp. We focused not just on running. Australia, yeah. Um, how you go from a like I said, did she get pregnant? How you go from 16? Anyone who knows running know how that is a large gap between 16 minutes and 20 minutes. Like that's a large gap. Pause. But um yeah. That's weird. Um, Probably because, well, but like you said, because you concentrate, because the Marines might be more demanding for women physically. That might be why it that might be why her running pace maybe decreased. That's the only thing I can think of is that because of the other physical demands on her might have caused uh might have caused that. But like once she was out of boot camp where she could run every day if she wants to, she could probably increase it. But since if you're only running like three, 3 or 4 days a week, and then the other days you're doing calisthenics, then that might be why. But unless I don't know, she either got injured or pregnant, kind of the same thing. But she said no, Marines are the only branch operated by genders. No, it's still under a 7 minute. Oh, I mean for 3 miles, that's still not bad though. 20 minutes, that's still not bad for 3 miles. But that's why I'm a distance runner because I don't have the speed. I have the stamina. That's what my wife says anyway. But no, no, I'm joking. But no, I'm not. But anyway, I can run distances, but the speed, not so much. Like I said, that's why I never got a perfect 100 on my runs because back then you had to you had to come in at 2 miles at 11 minutes and 56 seconds, and then because too many people couldn't qualify. Well, it was for the men. The women could qualify. Like the women had it easier to max their run, but because men had it so difficult to max their run at 11 minutes and 56 seconds, they upped it to 13 minutes. That I could have handled. Sarah says, "Well, they just made us co-ed like the branches. I don't agree." Yeah. Wait. So they got co-ed Marines now? That would be crazy. Like I'm just thinking like just from me being at Jackson with the women, there's a lot of testosterone going on, but in the Marines even more so. So like I'm guessing there would be different bay. Like we were on two different we were on two different floors in the Bay Area, right? But they would come up to the men's bay for all the stuff like when they were handing out mail, receiving instruction, and all that sort of stuff. But we trained basically together. I kind of enjoyed it. I'm not gonna lie, because the thing was like anytime I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. When you got a girl right next to you, like I'm not gonna bitch out in front of this chick. Like anything that I was like, I don't know if I can. Anytime I started second guessing myself, thinking I don't know if I can handle this. If I see a girl by me, I'm be like, I can handle this, man. Fuck this shit. I'm not looking weak in front of these girls. That's motivation to me. I don't know. I can't speak for other guys, but if co co-ed training can be motivational for a guy. I'm just saying, like if I see pretty chicks next to me, I'm not bitching out on anything. I don't care. All right, send me into the CS chamber. I don't care. First, I don't care because that's literally what happened to me. I got sent to the CS chamber first. She said, "Yep, they closed down the women's female boot camp in Paris Island after 200 years." Let me guess, this happened under Biden, right? um, to bond for 3 months with just male or females, nothing like it. I mean, it was fun. Like I said, like it was fun. Just plus, it's like it's funny too because you would see everybody becoming more fit as training progress. Like you're into like your fifth, sixth week, the girls are all like looking good. Of course, it might just be because we haven't seen any other girls other than these girls for the past 2 months. So by like the seventh week, we're just like, damn, they look good. And then like the girls start eyeballing us because, like, I think we're more. Most of us are looking more fit, so everyone's eyeing like the girls are eyeing us up like we're food. The guys are doing the same. You know what I'm saying? It was like very flirty all the time. It was fun because my father was surprised because he went in when he went on during the Vietnam era and he went straight to I don't know if he went to Fort Dix or um I forgot where, but he didn't enjoy it. He was like it was rough. He was like, I'm surprised to see you actually enjoy this. I was like, I didn't tell him why I enjoyed it, but I was like, yeah, I mean, it wasn't that bad. Besides that, because he had been such an asshole to me, the drill sergeants didn't bother me. Like they were nice compared to him. So that was probably another reason. Like dealing with him for all my life, the drill sergeants were easy to deal with compared to him. So oh wow, what? This is a question we had to all take fake. Oh, had to take mandatory birth control in boot camp. Same still today. Is that the same in the army? I don't know. I didn't know the women. I didn't know anything about that. You gonna have to ask a. I would. I'll have to ask someone in the. I have a friend who was in the army. I'm gonna ask her probably tomorrow if they had to take mandatory pregnancy tests. I don't. I'm not even sure. Probably a good thing that I didn't go upstairs to the bay with my with my white friend though during boot camp. The one that told me she was like, "Hey, ain't nobody around." She's like, "We should go upstairs to the Bay Area," and I knew exactly what she meant. I'm like, mm. I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm not trying to get caught. She's like, you sure we can go real quick? No one's gonna know. I'm like, mm, nah. I was tempted. Then there was people who got it on doing field training exercises because we were outside. When we did the 3 day bivouac, people were getting it in at the 3 day bivouac. And it was funny too because the drill sergeant even said, he's like, hey, I know some of you soldiers gonna be out here in this bivouac thinking, hey, I'm gonna get some of this stuff. He's like, the drill sergeant was blunt. He was like, I don't know about you soldiers, but I don't want some 3 day non non bathed stuff. He's like, he said if you nasty like that, whatever. He said, I personally I wouldn't do it. He didn't even say he didn't even say we can't do it. He was just saying I wouldn't do it. And sure enough, it was definitely a couple of people that got it in doing bivouac, but whatever. Yeah, but I didn't know they gave the female troops a mandatory pregnancy test. That's the first I've literally ever heard of that. I don't know. I'm gonna have to ask my friend tomorrow. She said we literally saw no males for 3 months, but had to take it. Crazy. Wait, so why are you? So they thinking the drill instructors are smashing y'all? Because like, who's gonna get you? And not like you had. We didn't have transgenders back then. We didn't have transgender females or transgender males. So pretty hard to kind of knock y'all up back then. Not for the lack of trying. I don't know, maybe one of the cooks or maybe one of the drill instructors. But other than that, she said, "What? We were never watched." Wow, that's crazy. Oh, you were never watched? Oh, it would have been on. It would have been on. Like I said, when we went to the Bay Area, when we would go back up to the Bay Area for the latrine, like say we're downstairs, like when we have, at the end of training and boot camp, you got that few hours to like make calls home, shine your boots, get some Powerade, um, talk amongst each other before we had to go to bed. And because most people would use that time to either like I said, they're either on the phone, writing letters, shining their boots, all that sort of stuff. And you know, usually the Bay Area was was seemingly unattended. So people would go up to the latrines, but you were supposed everywhere. You were supposed to go everywhere, literally everywhere of your battle buddy. So if you had to go to the latrine, you took your battle buddy with you. So people would sometimes go to the latrine without their battle buddy because they think, hey, nobody's up there. No one's gonna know I just snuck up to the latrine to use the bathroom and come right back. And then almost every time they thought no one saw them, a drill instructor would pull them up, be like, yo, where's your battle buddy? He's like, oh, I think I see him over there, soldier in the front leaning rest. Why don't you go and join him? Push. But yeah, I wasn't gonna risk it because I was like, if they catch people going to the latrines by themselves just to use the bathroom, imagine getting caught up there and it's just me and a chick there. Like, might get. I mean, but nah, I wasn't willing to risk it, especially on graduation day, just to make it that far, just to get put out or catch an article on graduation day. That wouldn't be worth it. She said, call us home 9 day. Uh, she said, oh my God, 9 days. She said, Marine camp, you never see anyone but your drill instructor and fellow recruits for 3 months. I'm not, never not watch. Sorry. Oh, oh, never not watch. Yeah, like they're always watching us. Like I said, even when they think the Bay Area, no one's in the Bay Area, there's usually someone up there. That's what I meant. Like just because it looks like no one's up there, usually there's someone around. Because when you got four drill sergeants, like there's going to be someone around. I mean, not four, but every platoon had two drill sergeants, so it was like there, if every platoon had two drill sergeants, that's eight drill sergeants hovering around the company. So that wasn't a good idea. I wasn't going to risk it. Um, but yeah, they gave us time to make calls and write letters and stuff like that because we didn't get the weekends off. See, at least the old school army during boot camp, they got the weekends off in boot camp. When we were in boot camp, we didn't get weekends off, so they gave us time off in the evenings before we had to go to bed. So we got like I was like 1 or 2 hours. Like I said, most of us were like shining our boots, making calls, buying some Powerade because Powerade was like the only sugar you could get was like Powerade, the Powerade drinks from the vending machine. Um, Writing letters, talking, stuff like that. Uh, but yeah, you can make calls. Not that I mean it was long distance, but usually literally have no outside contact except for letters. Well, I mean we can make calls, but like I said, did we make calls or was it just letters? No, no, wait. I did we make calls? No, I'm sorry. I don't think. No, I'm thinking. Sorry, I'm thinking of AIT. That was AIT. We would make calls. Yeah, we weren't making calls in boot camp. We were writing letters and doing stuff like that. Basically, just chillaxing. Like, yeah, my bad. I'm thinking of AIT. This is like 20 years ago. And no, if I'm talking about boot camp, that was 25 years ago. So I mean 26 years ago. So yeah, my bad. No, yeah. So writing letters, doing all that sort of stuff. She said we would get 4 hours every Sunday to write letters or shower. That's it. Or shower. Hope they let you guys shower every day because I remember one of the things that happened in boot camp was um, they 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 DX'd everything in the female floor because some girl ended up having crabs, so they had to throw out. They threw out all the linen. Like they had replaced all the linen. Um, and I think some in their like, maybe their underclothes or something, whatever. But yeah, they had to throw out all the linen. They had to clean or fumigate or something like that because one of the girls allegedly had crab. Well, not allegedly, had crab. So I hope they were letting them shower every day in the Marines. I know there's people watching this like, what in the hell are they talking about? But anyway, I'm gonna wrap it up because we can talk about this forever. But um, I'll go. But if anyone wants to leave comments or ask me some questions or whatever, they can leave it in the comment section. So I said, yeah. So basically, boot camp showers are run through a tower that sprays water. No, we had the regular. People used to like when we came in. That's when everyone was talking about, oh, you guys in the new, y'all in the new Hollywood. They call it New Hollywood, the new Hollywood barracks, because they were more upscale. They say, oh, you guys in the new Hollywood barracks, y'all got it nice. I mean, our barracks were nice. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, we had modern showers, you know, modern toilets, the works. So she's, I'll never forget it again. Thanks, brother. Good night. Thanks, Sarah. All right, and good night to everyone else. Good night, Kat. Well, not good night. Well, have a good day because it's daytime where you are. I think Moonlit, if he's still here, have a good day as well. I'm out. Sarah says we had a count of 3 minutes to run a platoon through. Hmm, man. Yeah, we'll probably have some more military talks again. Wait till I start talking about the family plan when people had to deploy and what those women would do to get out of deploying. That'll be a whole different talk. But all right, I'll talk to you later. Thank you. Talk to you guys later. I'll have a specific topic tomorrow.